Happy love and mental illness tonight. We're also going to talk about death. This is a song. I was raised in a city in the south of England called Winchester, right? But I moved to London as soon as I possibly could. When I turned 18 years old, I finished my last exam at school and I moved to London. No shit, I moved to London 45 minutes later. My mum was pissed. But I heard this song by The Clash called London Calling. I don't know if you know it. And it really did call. So I set out for London town and I was 18 years old, and like most people who move to London when they're 18, I lived in a fucking hovel. I worked a series of terrible telesale temporary jobs. I had an awful haircut. And I used to spend what spare time I had wandering around the desolate parts of the city, trying to look profound. In a trench coat, you know, and with like an Albert Camus novel tucked into the pocket of my trench coat, with the title just popping up over the top, in case I ran into any women, which I never did. And I'd love to say I was kidding in all of this, by the way, but that's an accurate portrayal of me, aged 19. And in northeast London, where I still live actually, there's a series of reservoirs that run up around Tottenham that's the drinking water supply for the whole city of London. And it's an excellent, desolate place for wandering around in a trench coat and looking profound. Not many women there. I did occasionally run into other guys in trench coats looking profound. You just try and avoid eye contact, you know what I mean? But I used to do a lot of thinking about death while I was up there, and of course when you're 19, for most people death is an impossible concept, nevertheless. And I had this idea that when I died, I was going to get my body cremated and have the ashes put into the reservoirs I was walking around. And that way, little bits of me would get in the drinking water supply and therefore into the gut of every single Londoner. And that would show those motherfuckers something. Still haven't quite got to the bottom of what it was I was showing them. But yeah. And I thought about this for a while, and after a time I've actually figured that there was a positive, or at least a constructive spin on this. I happen to be an atheist, for whatever that matters. I don't believe in life after death in the traditional sense. It doesn't matter if you do, I don't care. But I'm a big fan of the writer Carl Sagan, that you might know. He has this beautiful idea that we're all, matter continues, we're all made of stuff that came before, and Parts of us will go on into the world, whether or not you put it in London's drinking reservoirs. For legal reasons, I have to say I'm not going to do that. But it's a comforting thought to me. It's a beautiful vision of the world to me, and that's what this next song is about. It is a positive song, I promise. I'll get a tiny bit more of that, don't I? And that's what this song's about. This song's called One Foot Before the Other. On the very day I die, the very last of my desires is that you take my broken body and commit it to the fire. And then when the fire is finished, scrape the ashes in a tin, take them down to London's drinking reservoirs and throw them in. So the specs infinitesimal, my motto remains: slide down 7 million throats into 7 million veins, and I will creep through their capillaries to the marrow of their bones, and they will wake to bright new mornings, and then